Seen this weekend. He's a live wire player, terrific player and a real personality. Luke Hamilton at North Harbour, but now into the third of the bowl quarterfinals, and it's Manawatu against Wairarpapa, a clash between neighbouring unions. Manawatu, who fought their way through in Pool C to give themselves a chance of making the top half of the draw, but Tomasi Thama's men denied in the last match of the day by Auckland, and now they come up across Kaltenana, a Wairarpapa team that yesterday didn't get any wins, but certainly made life tough for some of the teams they played. They're not a bad side.
Oh, most definitely, TJ, and they won't want to lose one to the next door neighbour in provincial stakes. Wairarpapa and Manawatu. There'll be no love lost whatsoever there. You can even see the body language of the Wairarpapa team. They're ready for this one. They're ramped for this Manawatu team. Very, very classy outfit, led by that man, the master, Tomasi Thama.
Well, he's got some good players around him too, the likes of George Tilsley, Jordan Bunch. Hamish McKellar put in a strong day's work yesterday as well. And big Timothy Sedawalu, so they can be a handful, Manawatu. And as I say, they were in a tough group yesterday, but this man here, Inia Katia, he was one of the players of the day yesterday. Always happy to try something. Quick throw, which was almost picked off by Tomasi.
Katia's been around for a little while for Wairarpapa, and he really is the linchpin. You talk about Tomasi Thama being integral to Manawatu. Well, Katia also, everything revolves around him. He's the playmaker. He's the creator for Wairarpapa.
Melody Robinson is sideline, and Mel, this is a day for the high factor sunblock.
Oh, it is so hot sideline. I can't believe it. A lot of the players over in the Women's Cup qualification semis are really taking it easy at the end of the 14 minutes because you've got to conserve energy in these kind of conditions.
Bright sunshine here, and Manawatu penalised at scrum time, so opportunity here for Wairarpapa to set something. Nick Olsen plays out of the ITM Cup team on Wairarpapa. He's the man who takes the tap, and now Nathan Hunt from beautiful Martinborough. Katia, everything revolves around this guy. The opposition know that. He's still a handful, although he might be a handful. He just ran into a truckful there in the form of Sedawalu. Manawatu have taken it quickly. Boy, this is asking for trouble, trying to play the game at speed in this weather. Must be close to 30 degrees here today. Manawatu just looking, set something going from inside their own half, and here is Sedawalu, so hard to stop, takes 2 or 3, and that'll open up things for other players. They look to get it wide, and waiting out on the flank is Jackson Tangi Vaital. And, well, he regathered the ball, but there was a knock-on, so just little errors. And sometimes the case on Sundays, Kaltenana teams can just be a little bit slow out of the blocks.
Yeah, it's always this first game. It's like day one, TJ. You have to restart everything all over again. The body's tired.
Stay straight, okay? Don't come around.
Mentally, you're tired. You have to get in there. And any team's vulnerable. They're probably 2 metres too close to the sideline was Jackson Tangi Vaital. Should have come in to receive that pass.
Crouch.
Made it a lot harder on the distributor there.
Fine. Sit.
So, Katia, it's good ball from the scrum too.
Yep, cool.
Sam Monaghan, very good player at first receiver, floats the ball wide. And Nick Robertson, in fact, I beg your pardon, it's Nathan Hunt having a run down the left-hand side. Here's Monaghan. He was outstanding yesterday, former Canterbury player. Olsen going in. And just a danger here being held up and denied forward progress, so they'll lose the possession here.
Malele Sal for Manawatu in Jersey 7 doing some great work in defence here. Got some backup too with Sedawalu, who's been very involved for a big man in this game so far.
Okay, bind up, let's go.
Yeah, the mistake here, KT, was taking it into contact. He didn't have the support players. His body position was all wrong. And you see the Manawatu defence on their feet and tussling for it.
Sit.
So Clayton Stewart, it is feeding the scrum.
Up, round.
Tomasi playing in the standoff role, and they get a penalty this time.
Up and round.
Manawatu yesterday, they beat Mid Canterbury. It was the draws that with the feature of that pool, Pool C. They drew with Otago, who'd earlier drawn with Auckland. So that put it all down on that game against Auckland, and they were fairly well beat, just faded towards the end of the day. But here they come now, McKellar with the run. And now good, strong progress by Tangi Vaitao. He's a powerful man, is Jackson Tangi Vaitao, the man from the Manawatu Turbos ITM Cup team. And he dots it down for the first try of this bowl quarterfinal.
Well, it's a powerful one too. Tangi Vaitao using the strength to bust out of the Wairarpapa Bush defence. But Tomasi Thama was just admiring the way he controls the game. It was a nice little late cut. Changed the angle of attacking the comeback to blind. And use that short corridor, and Tangi Vaitao. This Manawatu off to the perfect start, Mel.
Yeah, we were talking about Tomasi Thama yesterday. Is he too old? Well, he's been showing in these games for Manawatu that he's still got all the magic. Of course, he's got players finishing it up for him, like this one here, but, you know, he's in his early 30s. Will he stay in that New Zealand 7 squad? It'll be interesting to see what Gordon Titchens does at the end of this tournament when he does name his team.
Yeah, I don't care how old he can be. 40. If he's playing like this, it doesn't matter. If you're the best in the business, you should be in there. That kid wants to be like Tomasi.
Something to aim for.
Back off, Red. Fine.
Wairarpapa Bush, Richard Wesley. Now, Katia onto Monaghan. He's going to try and get on the outside of Serawalu. And drops the ball off for Nathan Hunt. Katia looking to burst through, but he's lost possession. And Maleli Sau snaps it up for Manawatu, but then the ball goes over the touchline.
If Katia and Serawalu said something to each other, because every time one or the other gets the ball, they're just running at each other 100 miles an hour. There he is there, the big man.
Big Jim, Timothy Serawalu. Ball not taken clean. He was actually knocked forward by one of the Manawatu players, Kubu, coming through. And so no advantage.
Trying to play advantage. Knock on green.
Wairarpapa Bush.
Well, you've got to admire Wairarpapa Bush's
Knock on green.
urgency here. They're just scrambling for everything. Manawatu had a lot of possession, but only find themselves one converted try in the lead.
Yep.
This guy brilliant on day one, Katia.
Yep. Crouch.
Just one of those teams, if they stick around, it's going to be a hard day at the office.
Sit.
Katia has a little dart and then gets it away to Monaghan. And this fella here, he was outstanding yesterday. Last year's Wairarpapa Bush Player of the Year, Sam Monaghan. He's got experience playing for Canterbury behind him. Nice little offload, although some good tracking back from Tomasi.
Offside. Knock on, then offside.
And in the end, they get a penalty out of it. Manawatu. Just get the feeling that Tomasi's trying to rate himself through this. He's not doing too much, just playing the general. And now here's Serawalu. If he can't go round them, he usually tries to go through them. That time, good resolute tackling. Nick Olsen, I think it was, on the ground. In fact, have still got it now. And now here's the break for Wairarpapa Bush from Rima Marurai. And a chance to level the scores up. In fact, he's in a benevolent mood, so he hands it off to Nick Olsen and says, here, you do it. Good team try, and a chance for Wairarpapa Bush now to level it up.
Well, it come down from the steal at the breakdown. I think it was Richard Worsley in jersey number 5 for Wairarpapa Bush, which turned the ball over from Serawalu, not using his players. He had options inside and out. Didn't use them, took it to deck, and this is the end result. Nice little step there by Rima Mururai. And this is what I'm talking about, TJ, the confidence after keeping close to Manawatu, and there it is. It's a team game. There you go, son.
So the kick went over, and it's 7-all between Manawatu and Wairarpapa Bush, and that's half-time here in the third of the bowl quarterfinals here.
good, even though you're tired, putting the front on and trying to break the other team mentally.
Don't show any weakness. Well, they haven't, because it's 7-all between Wairarpapa and Manawatu. Taken down by McKellar. Vaitai gets rid of it. Well, what can they do in the face of this very doughty challenge from their near neighbours? But they give it to Jackson Tangi Vaitai. He's big, he's strong, he's pretty quick, and he's got a man coming up inside him. Who else but Tomasi? He's just been pacing himself through this game. I think he's still troubled a bit by that calf injury, but when he stretches out, when he knows he needs to be there, he'll be there. And he dots down for the try that gives the lead back to Manawatu.
Well, it's nice sevens. It took it to the far side of the field where you were, Mel, and it was a nice release pass, wasn't it long, and it just created that space.
Yeah, it certainly did, and it moved the defence over, and they were just too slow to come and try and shore up the attacking player coming through on the attack. It was Pickering who got beaten by that player there, Tangi Vaitai, but good backup, and you can't expect any more from that young man. Young man.
Younger than you, isn't he? Just.
Yes.
Also, Jackson Tangi Vaitai, the man who made the big break, he'd be fit. He's an army man. He's got his hands on his knees at the moment, but he's been a strong performer this weekend. And really, gas in the tank's going to be such a factor today, not just for these teams, but for all of the teams. Those in the cup competition, which is coming up pretty soon.
7, you're taking the man out.
A bit of a shove in the back. It was the try scorer, Rima Mururai, denying one of the Manawatu players the opportunity to contest the ball. So Hamish McKellar takes the tap. Tomasi bring it back the other way. And now it's McKellar trying to get on the outside, pops the ball back in field. They've still got it, although the referee says it was knocked on.
He just executed all a bit slow for me, that tap penalty for Manawatu. Someone had to take it forward a bit earlier for mine. Easy for the defence to just drift and cover across and wait for the insides to do help. And that's exactly what Wairarpapa had there. They had 4 players in that little space and were able to cover it easily.
Crouch.
So Katia, who's just battled a bit to get himself into the game. The Wairarpapa playmaker, huge influence yesterday. Manawatu have certainly looked to close him down. Comes away with it. Monaghan, who's got the speed to get on the outside. He's having Sarawalu on again. Trying to free up a bit of space for the man outside him, Nick Olsen. And that's high. That's a penalty.
High. Yeah.
Got to be a bit careful. Not to end up in the sin bin. So, what can they do? Katia probing. And just as the gap was opening up, Rima Marudai, who has shown he's got the speed that could have taken him all the way, just shells a scoring pass, Carl.
Oh, most definitely. Katia doing all the good work. He had a 2-on-1 to defence and turned his back and probably getting ahead of himself. He had his eyes looking forward, and here's the high tackle. And you're right, TJ, they're lucky to still have him on the field.
The difference between the two teams, though, if Manawatu had that space like Olsen did, they would have pulled out and done that early release, like you said before, where they got a try. Wairarpapa not playing that kind of sevens, are they?
Maleli Sal was the man. He's playing out on the wing, and that's the direction they're heading now. Tomasi playing out in the midfield. Jordan Bunce is on the field, and he's got good acceleration. Bunce. He's got Sal outside him. In fact, chops back in field. Bunce has to hold it up. Katia got across and made a good tackle. Tries to rip the ball away. And they've got the turnover too. So that's very good defence. But now can Wairarpapa fight their way out of their own quarter. Picked up by Monaghan. Little show of the ball. Backs himself, and then the offload, which doesn't find the mark. Finds the worst possible man. Tomasi Thama, and wide it goes, and Jackson Tangi Vaitai is going to get another one.
Well, he's been the difference in this game, hasn't he? The brick number 11, Jackson Tangi Vaital, scored 2 tries, created a third. Here's Bunce down the sideline, doing some great work. Nice inside pass also, just about to release. Akatia doing some good work there too, in defence, and it's just the back end of it.
Yes, nice injection by Jordan Bunce. His father's here this weekend. In fact, several notable next generations here. Of course, was in Michael Little, the son of the other half of the great partnership here with North Harbour. Richard Knight, long-serving Otago lock, saw him yesterday. His son's playing in the Otago team.
The daughter looked like his father in South Africa in a particular test a few moons ago.
Well, the thing about Frank, people said he wasn't that quick. He could be fast when he needed to be.
Especially when it's time to pay for the bill at dinner.
He was a world record holder then. He's Usain Bolt. Oh, indication there just how hard the surface is here in Rotorua, the way that ball bounced around. Manawatu have rung some changes. Carl Bryson is on the field now. Here's Tangi Vaital. He's just keeping on, keeping on. Offload doesn't find Bunce. Some nice work by Clayton Stewart just to tidy things up a bit.
Hands away.
Well, 17-7, Manawatu
No clear release.
leading. And just a minute to go, so Manawatu will just look to close this out now and go through. They will play the winner of the coming up game between Tasman and Canterbury. Two teams will be disappointed to be in the bottom half of the draw like Manawatu, but they've still got a chance for some silverware today. A nice ball into space for Carl Bryson to take from Tomasi Thama. Then he floats a ball that goes about 3 metres forward.
Forward pass first.
And that should be the end of the game. Was the referee going to keep them out? No, he's going to...
Touch first.
He's going to call another scrum, even though the players will be probably quite happy to walk off at this point.
Oh, I'm sure they will. What a nice pass and a nice line run by Carl Bryson there on the inside of Tomasi Thama. Should have probably went himself there, Carl. Decided to try and release the pass, but wide it up. We'll try and finish with a flourish.
Move. Crouch. Fine.
Well, they had their chance early in the second half. They had a scoring situation and they just couldn't hang on to the ball. Katia has a go on his own. Wonderful stepper and very elusive. Now he's still not stopped. They were coming at him from all angles and no one managed to level him. Well, they could score here if the ball stays in hand. Monaghan takes it to the 22. Snapped up for Wairarpapa Bush by Tavita Isaac now. The offload. And, well, Tomasi was lurking. Bunce has it. And do they want another one? Maleli Sau. Yeah, beautiful. One way, then the other. And I'm afraid the Wairarpapa Bush man, Nick Robertson, was just turned inside out there, and Manawatu seal it. They'll be through to the bowl semi-finals.
Well, the class showing out in the second half for Manawatu, just too good, taking their opportunities. Mel Robinson spoke about it earlier on, being a lot more ruthless. When they got into the right ends of the field and position, and they sealed this game.
So Manawatu go through along with Hurawhenua Kapiti and North Harbour at the bowl semi-finals. Up next, it's Tasman against Canterbury.